of the team stuff the last couple of days. Anything?
No, nothing necessarily to be majorly concerned with. More than anything else, he worked through a couple of the tweaks and stuff he had, and just feeling that we're feeling pretty good about what he's done. So we've kind of tried to be a little more maintenance than anything else. He'll do a lot of the warm-up stuff, and then we'll just settle him down.
And then what are your takeaways from Sam Howell's last couple of weeks, and what have you been impressed with? What are some of the things you say he's still kind of growing here?
Well, I think a big part of it right now has been more so than improving on some of the little things that we were concerned with coming out of last season. Now, again, footwork probably one of the things that you always want these young guys to understand how important it is, especially coming from one program to another. You've got to understand that it's a little bit different. Speed's a little bit different, so we just got to make sure those things are corrected. Second thing, I really appreciate his work ethic, the way he's really diving into this, the extra work he's putting in. I like, some of the decisions he makes out there are really good. Some of the other ones he's still learning, still growing. And he's shown improvement, and that's probably the biggest thing that we're excited about.
I don't even know what to ask. Antonio Gibson, how do you we kind of can see what kind of a running back, he can do a bunch of different things, but him in space is such obviously like a weapon. Do you see that as something with Eric, something he's going to be able to do?
Most certainly. I think it's one of the things that when you look at some of the options that Eric has as far as the offensive personnel is concerned, that's one of the things that he's looking for is guys that are going to create those kind of matchups and are going to be, matchup nightmares for the opponent. So, he is a guy that we most certainly want to continue to work with, and Eric wants to make sure this guy gets as many opportunities right now to show us what he's capable of, because I think that'll be a big part of the game planning.
And to the point of the game planning, by the numbers, Kansas City had way more screen passes to running backs than you guys did last year, but it looks like that's something that you guys are trying to incorporate. Is that just like another way of sort of Eric putting his stamp on what you guys are trying to do while taking advantage of the personnel?
Yes, I think that's, again, a big part of it. It'll be about the matchups, and it'll be about, things that you want to create. And just knowing, as to what I don't disagree with what you saw on tape, because it's the same thing that, kind of pointed me in that direction towards Eric from the stuff that I was doing at the end of January and February. It's just looking at the things that they did and looking at the creative ways they got the ball into the hands of their playmakers. And that's one of the things that, we feel we need to be able to take advantage of, is get the ball quickly into their hands and give them some space to make moves and make things happen.
What have you seen from Sadiq to really make you feel comfortable having him there at the
Well, first and foremost, we always know Sadiq's had the skill set to do it. He's got to stay healthy. That's probably the biggest thing right now for him. More so than anything else. I mean, that always seemed to be the issue. If you go back and look at the times he's played, something has come up. Whether it's been the calf, it's been the ankle, the shoulder. So you just hope that he stays healthy, because he has the skill set. He's got the physical makeup, and again, it's just a matter of being able to stay healthy, I believe.
And Cole Turner, I know he had a really good all-season last year before he was dinged up a bit. What have you seen from him so far? Well,
and not just him, but I think if you have about one of the units that I think is vastly improved, it's that one, the tight end unit. And a lot of it has to do with the development of the young guys more so than anything else. I mean, you look at John and you say, wow, that guy's really grown. I mean, his role for us is going to be a little bit different than it's been traditionally. Then you look at what you're getting from Cole, and you look at some of the dynamic things he's doing, showing that's pretty much the same thing we saw last year until, like you said, he got dinged up a little bit. Curtis Hodges is a guy that's really stepped up. We were able to put him on injured reserve, and then never got a chance to get him off of it. But at the end, when we activated him, we designated him for return, and we obviously ran out of time with him. But we got to see some of the things that we wanted to. Now we're seeing it again, and that's cause for optimism. And then the guy that's back, and you're real happy to see him back, obviously, is Logan, and he's really showing us that some of the things that they did in Kansas City, we're going to be able to do with him and the other guys.
Did Sam show you enough through minicamp to kind of keep this QB1 spot for now going into camp? And is that, kind of the plan?
Yeah, he's pretty much shown us what we want to see. I mean, again, he's young. We know he's young. He's a second-year player who, got an opportunity to start last year. But there is a lot of room for growth, and we know that. But he's got a good skill set. You know, he's mobile. He's got good foot movement. He's got quick twitch to him. Good decision maker. You know, he's still learning to make those decisions, but he's also got the arm talent, and that's the thing that that excites us.
A little general, but overall, what do you expect from your defense this year?
Well, I think that they can continue to grow within the scheme of things of what we do. It's been a lot of fun to watch those guys. You see the growth and development, especially out of guys like Defoe and Benjamin. You know, those guys in the secondary, they have that much potential for growth. You see Percy out there and see him running around. That's good to see. And then you've got some crafty veterans that are, you know, really solid. We didn't get a chance to watch Cam this off season, obviously because of the because of him coming off of his rehab there. But he's been around, been moving around. It's good to see him moving around the way he has been. And then again, like I said, you know, when you've got some crafty veterans that are going to help you, it's pretty good. And then you see the development of that young group of DBs we drafted. You know, and both Emmanuel and Quan showed us a lot that we were looking for.
Once Tuesday wraps up, what's on your docket for the next 6 weeks between now and training camp?
Well, it won't be 6 weeks. It'll be probably wait and see what's happening, what's going on. You know, we're going to finish up as coaches and be done with all of our preparation for training camp next week. And then we'll take a little downtime, get out, but obviously keeping an eye out for what's going on. You know, obviously with the sale, and that's probably the biggest thing that we're waiting for. You know, and we'll see how it happens. And you know, until then, it's we'll try to enjoy our time off and just refresh.
The new rules on special teams with the touchbacks, how does that impact you guys, and what's your thought on that?
Well, it'll be decision making. You have to decide whether you want to try and hang it up and have them fair catch it, or you want to kick it in the end zone, or are you going to drive it? I mean, you know, it's funny you asked the question, because that was one of the questions that I was talking with Nate today during warm-ups, and we were talking about some of our options going forward. So, you know, obviously a lot of it's going to depend on who makes your football team in terms of who's going to be on your kickoff coverage units, because that'll dictate a lot to what we want to do.
There's been a lot of blowback to that rules change. As a person who's involved in that, what do you say to those folks?
Player safety. I mean, you know, we have to be honest about that. That's one of the things that, you know, a lot of things that we do, a lot of the rule changes we make are involved around player safety. We're only doing it for a year to see how it goes. And we're also looking at some of the other options that are out there. So, you know, by no means is this 100% solidified going forward after this year. But, again, we've got to do these things because we've got to be able to find a way to make that play safe, and at the same time be able to keep it, because it is one of the more exciting plays in the league.
Take 3 more. Just the decision to move inside of the bubble today, how did you guys arrive at that? Did any players come to you? Just a medical decision?
It was more of a medical decision, JP. What we did was, you know, we've been monitoring the AQ1 scores, AQI, okay, to kind of gauge how it was going to be at the time of practice. And what we saw, that was steadily climbing from the 160s all the way up, and we saw a couple that were going to be in, you know, these were projections that they were going to be somewhere around 300 by the time we were out on the field. And we didn't want to put the players in that kind of a situation. So again, we were monitoring it, and then called Dr. Casolaro. We talked to the doc and listened to him, you know, basically tell us what each range was. And he said, but once we get beyond 180, we're more than likely going to go inside no matter what. And then once we saw that it was projected to be somewhere in the high 200s to the even low 300s, we decided it was safer to go inside for the players.
And then the minicamp practices have been going about 2 hours, a little shorter today. Was that part of it, just
Yes,
with the AQI?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, a big part of it, too, was, I don't know if you know, and I know you guys noticed that several of our veteran guys, we didn't practice. And so because of that, then we cut some of those reps out that would have probably gone directly to them. And we didn't want to keep those guys out there longer than needed to be.
Thanks.
Going back to the sale, how much would it help to have that settled by the time training camp begins?
I think it'll help a lot. I mean, there's still some things that we've got to be able to move on from and have decided on. And so that's just the biggest part of it, is just, you know, being able to get all those other little details taken care of that we need to have taken care of. So that's a big part of it for us.
Can I follow up real quick? When everything's on hold for like the contract talks, can you? I know you can, but have you guys still been in contact with the agents to gauge kind of what?
Well, what we've
players
tried to
want?
do more than anything else, just kind of let everybody know exactly what you said. We're kind of on hold, you know, and you know, and just being able to let those people know that, hey, guys, just a matter of time. You know, we've got to go through this. You know, we've got to be able to present the plan to the ownership, and you know, they've got to be in agreement with it too. I mean, we can't go on until we get a chance to explain to them exactly what our thoughts and ideas are, and whether they agree or disagree. I mean, that's going to be very important to be able to you know, to get those kind of answers going forward to help this organization. More than anything else, this really is about making sure we're in the right position going forward more than anything else.